Adding texture to your instruments is a very popular effect used by producers to get either more presence, grit on your drums, overall just shaping the sound of your instrument, adding more character. Today we'll be talking about a plugin that does just that, and Cymatics' newest plugin, Corrosion. Whether you're looking to add gritty edge to your synths, transform your drums with a rich tonal depth, or bring unique flavor to any audio source, Corrosion has you covered. It's definitely going to be more of an experimental kind of plugin, where on the more subtle end we can help out with the mixing, but then also by cranking it up, getting some really unique sound effects as well. So without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, so I'm definitely late to the game on this one, as this plugin was released with the Cymatics SOLSTICE production suite, which, full transparency, Cymatics did give me the plugin and the production suite for free to test out for you guys. But as you guys know, I've always been a huge Cymatics fan even before I started working with them, and this will be my 100% honest review, like always. But I did get sent this a few days after the release, so I'm a little bit late, but we can still give our thoughts here and more of a first look sort of deal. Speaking of the SOLSTICE production suite over here, we've got some loops over there from that pack, where everything sounds like this. Alright, very chill sort of track right here. I wanted to use something more like guitars for this plugin as a test, and also the drums as well as do want to mention here that I have not recorded anything for the SOLSTICE production suite quite yet. I do want to make a video on that one after this one. I want to get the plugin out first. So I've not checked out anything else from this production suite, just a couple of the guitar loops, and that was it. So when I do make that video going over the production suite, it'll be my honest reactions and everything. Alright, let's go ahead and put on some Cymatics Corrosion over here. And straight away, I'm going to make it a bigger size because I've got a bigger monitor. So straight away, we've got a bit of noise over here at 25%. And if we move this on, let's go ahead and raise it up so we can really hear the effect. Move this around. Pretty dramatic effect there, right? I can definitely hear that one. I could probably need some headphones. So right around the middle right here, we've got everything pretty much balanced with the shape as we can see right there, and then the frequency over here as well at 2K hertz. In typical Cymatics fashion, this is going to be a very simple plugin, easy to use. You can use your ear for pretty much everything here. You don't really need to know anything technical. As we move this around, we can see those two parameters changing quite a bit. So going all the way to the corner over here, we can see that the shape is at 100%, and that is the max frequency range of 18K hertz. If we go all the way to the top left corner, the hertz is all the way down to 300, and the shape is still at 100. And then the opposite bottom right is going to be no shape, and still 18K hertz. And then over here is nothing. It really does help change the entire track and the loop with the feeling of it. Like this over here is kind of accentuating those lower tones and keeps everything very warm, but if you want to brighten it up, it's as simple as doing that. Now, the last button we've got over here is going to be the mono and stereo. So let's go, we're on mono right now, let's go over to stereo. Personally, for most plugins, I love using stereo effects. I think the wider the sound, the better in a lot of cases. Not all the cases, but in most cases, I do prefer a more stereo effect, where here, it almost sounds like there's just like noise on top of our melody, which is not necessarily what I want. Maybe that is for certain different types of tracks, but for this one, putting it in mono makes it feel like it's changing the sound itself as opposed to just layering it on top. So for this plugin specifically, most of the time I stick on over to mono. And I think for here, I do want to keep those kind of lower tones. That right there sounds pretty good. And still too dramatic, so let's go on down. Now we just have like that fuzz on the bottom. We can change that a bit more if we want to. There we go, adding more to that like lo-fi-ish chill kind of texture. So I like that right there, and we'll definitely be going back to this in a bit. But for right now, going on down to 0%, so we can just show you guys what tone sounds like. Tone is going to be the second page of this plugin right here. Let's go up in the amount to around like 100%, just so we can really hear what's going on. This one for melodies is where I really have some fun. Again, right here, we're getting that kind of like distorted, imperfect feeling. Still keeping those warmer tones though, we're not really adding any too much high frequencies. In fact, over here it sounds kind of like that like malfunctioning effect, right? But going more over here, adding a lot more high end, we'll just really need to go down and get rid of a lot of the amount. Or even in the like 6 to like 8 range, it won't be as dramatic, but you can definitely still get a huge change of tone even at that really low amount range. So here's with the plugin off completely. Now with it on. Really cool, adding a lot of texture and character to our track. And that's if you want to keep it all in one stagnant place, which, thanks to automation, we don't need to do that. We can move these alternately like this, which once we do that, we can go over to FL Studio at least, and then go to create automation clip for that one parameter, and then just start drawing in something that we like, which is going to be a great way to get different parts of a track. I actually might reverse these over here, so let's go ahead and put this one as the first part right there, and then for the drop we'll go up a bit higher in the frequency. Turn on down the tone. Because again, even in those lower amounts, you can still really hear a difference in the tone. Immediately just sounds like a whole different vibe. Alright, let's go try and put that on our drums over here. Alright, once again, here's the dry drum loop. Now let's go try to put on the Cymatics Corrosion. Okay, now for drums, it's a bit different the way they use this plugin than compared to like melodies or anything like that. For melodies, I stuck more to the tone and then just utilized the noise a little bit. For the drums, it's kind of the exact opposite. For certain effects, you can use the tone for drums, but for me, adding noise is where I like to use that. Again, over here, adding a lot more presence and aggression to the loop. Over here, keeping those warm tones while adding that noise in a very tasteful, low, warm sort of way. Over here sounds like a pretty good happy medium. A little bit lower shape, keeping that 2K hertz. Once again, for the mono and stereo, it just kind of sounds like the noise is on two separate channels on my ear. Not exactly what I'm looking for. All right, now going on over to the tone over here. The reason why I say you really got to be careful with this, and the tone in general, is that you could definitely be utilizing frequencies that are not in your key, like your scale that you're using. So you got to be careful with that, especially when adding musical tones to your drums, you know? But once again, we can actually utilize that automation feature in FL Studio, probably other DAWs too. I think here making the automation follow the kick might be a good idea. All right, and then every single one that we put is going to be a hold. All right, so here's the pattern that I drew in for the automation. I'm not even sure if it's in key right now, so I think I whipped up very quickly. So let's hear that and look at the way the automation changes the different parameters over here inside of Corrosion. Now, how often you will be using this effect is going to be completely up to you. It is definitely experimental, so you gotta really fine-tune it and find what works out for you. But there is one unique, cool use case for this plugin. And of course, you can do that on a perk loop and your other melody loops as well, too, by doing that automation, changing up the different key like that. Give it a try. See what you think. Now, one other idea I had over here is to go to the master and put on Corrosion, and then get more of like a little bridge or transition effect going. That might work, man. That might just work. There we go. That's awesome. That's really cool. Alright, so that can be used for like any sort of transition effects. I am curious on how it will sound on something a bit more like a synth, so let's try and find something from the old production suite, the Slayer production suite, as I don't want to go through too much of the new Solstice pack. Alright, let's try out this one over here. Which the Slayer production suite did not come out that long ago either, which I've still got videos on it if you guys want to go check that out. This one is sick. I've never actually even heard this loop before. Oh, that already sounds really good. Let's try out the tone. That's aggressive. Yeah, right around there. I need to put like one drum loop on here, just for curiosity's sake. Kind of crazy. So pretty straightforward video here today for a very straightforward kind of plugin. It's a very easy to use Cymatics plugin that people of any experience level can use, whether you be a beginner or a pro. Let me know down below if you guys picked up the Solstice production suite, how you guys are liking it, what you guys are making with it, because I will definitely be covering that a lot more in the future. So if you don't want to miss that, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you guys there.